Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WAN show. We've got a fantastic show for you lined up today. Lots of big news, including, of course, the slightly embarrassing attack on Instagram from Signal, where they actually created an ad campaign that showed people what Facebook knows about them right in the ad. In other news, there's some developments in the Epic versus Apple court saga. It's an epic saga about Epic versus Apple. I'm sorry if that was a little confusing. What else we got, Luke?
Life or death of the paywall. There's an airbag that will only deploy if you have your payments up to date. So if you let that credit card expire, you might just die. Also, Disney built a really genuinely cool looking lightsaber that I'm excited to show everyone.
Really? That's one of your headline topics. Not that Sennheiser doesn't make headphones anymore?
Okay, I forgot that because that's not even like technically a. I don't know what's going on with that. I would give that one of my spots, but I don't know what that is because it's not a topic.
All right, we're going to talk about that and more. Let's roll that intro. And the show is brought to you today by, I'm pretty sure Ridge Wallet's in there. Ridge Wallet and Squarespace. What the? Luke, you're gone.
What?
You're a gone boy.
Oh, wow.
And you're back. All right.
Hey.
And the sun went behind a cloud since I adjusted my lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And we can jump real quickety styles into our first topic of the day, which is, of course, I forget what I said as the first topic, actually.
Oh, that was the Signal thing.
Ah, yes. Oh my gosh. This is so
actually amazing.
Funny. It's almost as funny as I have invisible cursor syndrome on my computer right now, so I can see where my mouse highlights things, but I can't actually see where it is.
That sounds super annoying. But on Tuesday, the encrypted messaging service named Signal published a blog post explaining that they had bought ads on Instagram that would show users how they were targeted. And some of the examples of this are actually
they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah, like they're really great. I actually really like this. The ads were done.
Sorry? I'm gonna try and click them. I'm gonna do it.
The ads were done Mad Lib style. You'll hopefully see it soon with Facebook's ad targeting characteristics filling in the blank. So it would like describe you and the things that you're into. User would see an ad describing what Facebook knows about them, essentially, which is in a lot of cases, I suspect, quite accurate. After starting what appears to be a test campaign in their screenshot, Signal's ad account was disabled completely in the least surprising move ever. But none of them were able to get posted, which
there we go.
Kind of blows. But I actually think that would have been really cool. That's an ad that I would actually probably like to see, you know?
This is great. So here's some examples. You got this ad because you're a newlywed Pilates instructor and you're cartoon crazy. This ad used your location to see you're in La Jolla. I don't know how to pronounce that. You're into parenting blogs and thinking about LGBTQ adoption. So there's a whole bunch of examples of exactly the kind of stuff that Facebook totally actually does know about you. You got this ad because you're a GP with a master's in art history, also divorced. This ad used your location to see you're in London. Your online activity shows you've been getting into boxing and you're probably getting there on your new motorcycle. It's funny to me because it's not even, I don't know why it's so shocking to read something like this. Like, Luke, if you saw that in the side banner of your browser,
it would grab me for sure.
Wouldn't you look at it and go,
because there's
what?
A difference between being like, oh, I don't care, I don't have anything to hide, they can have my data, and having it actually all served back out to you from a third party and realizing like, oh,
holy crap.
This is what they're doing with it. Like, that makes me a lot more uncomfortable.
Exactly. Like, you got this ad because you're a K-pop loving chemical engineer and you have a new baby and just moved and you're really feeling those pregnancy exercises lately. It's like, Yeah, all of that is exactly the kind of crap that people would definitely post on Facebook and give it absolutely no thought whatsoever. Well, no, yeah, whatever. Who cares if people know that, like, I'm feeling my pregnancy exercises, except it's not the kind of thing that you would actually bring up necessarily in a conversation with strangers. Like if you went to your spouse's work barbecue, you know what I mean? You just,
If you're not okay telling the random person that's sitting across from you on the train,
yeah, that you're a Leo in Signal. Or it's Leo and Signal. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The ads were for Signal. If you're a Leo and single, you know, like if you wouldn't wear a shirt that says it on it, then,
which some people would, to be fair, but we're just giving the example.
But then maybe it isn't the kind of thing that you're actually comfortable with, even if you feel like you might be comfortable because you're not confronted with what the actual truth is of this information. I mean, honestly, I would love to get these ads and find out what Facebook thinks of me. I suspect that Facebook, Google, probably to a much, much lesser extent, Amazon, know pretty much all there is to know about me. Like mine would be something along the lines of, you got this ad because you're a tech bro and you have however many kids and you're super into reading fanfics of yourself and Luke Lafreniere. We don't really get that, but
some of those are pretty good.
Yep, some of them are, you know, most excellent, high literature. And for some reason, I don't care about it, but it would still be really unnerving to have. Like, I would almost feel like if I had that information on my screen and or like I'm at my computer, right? And my mom, you know, someone that I'm close to, but don't necessarily tell everything to, you know what I mean? And if my mom was sitting next to me, I would worry, what's the next banner ad going to have in it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's an amount of depth of information that it's just because everything in that one was something, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm okay with this. Doesn't mean that the next one would be. I mean, here's a really interesting one. You got this ad because you're a teacher, but more importantly, you're a Leo and single. So I already said that part. This ad used your location to see you're in Moscow. You like to support sketch comedy, and this ad thinks you do drag. It's like, okay, yeah, doing drag, whatever, to me. If you're in Moscow, that might not actually be the coolest thing for everyone to know. From like a safety perspective. I don't mean that I care if people dress in drag. That's totally up to them. But I'm not Vladimir Putin. So my opinion on that in Moscow doesn't quite matter as much as certain other people's do in terms of, you know, making sure that you're safe and okay, right? So it's just, man, like you got this ad because you're a certified public accountant in an open relationship. Like I shouldn't say, how would they know stuff like that? Because, man, I know people on Facebook that post a lot of like really intimate details, actually, one about a lot of that kind of stuff, and just kind of don't think at all about what that might do to the kinds of ads that they're getting and like how they're profiled. And the thing is, like, contextual content on the internet, right? It has a way of even shaping you. I mean, we've seen that with the echo chamber effect in the extremely polarized political climate. The more that you get sort of pigeonholed as you know, one of these or one of those, and
you're going to be fed more and more of that content,
more and more and more of that kind of content, to the
leads
point
to
where
extremism and everything else.
And I'm not going to say, you know, you shouldn't be in an open relationship. That could be the coolest thing ever and you could be having your best life. I'm just saying that it's not necessarily conducive to really, for realsies, making your own decisions if all of a sudden you have these tech giants that are going, this is who you are, and creating this positive feedback loop that might make it hard for you to gain a different perspective. And the same could go the other way. I really am not taking a position on that one. It's just kind of, it just feels a disproportionate amount of power to give to someone who thinks it's chill to literally try to buy a Hawaiian island, you know? Do you see that? Like, do you
Yeah.
see that? Like, what even is that? How much of that Hawaiian island does he own now? And people are like just
No,
cluing into it.
there's no issues with wealth equality at all. Buying like a large chunk of a continent is totally fine.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Mark Zuckerberg bought another 600 acres on Kauai, and Hawaiians are peeved off, is the headline. What Hawaiian island does Zuckerberg own? Yeah, owns, purchased close to blah, 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 and according to public records. Yeah, I don't know how much of it exactly they own. Part of the northeastern part of the Garden Island. Net worth is whatever. Bought 700 acres in 2014 for more than 100 million. Like, we're talking what, 1,500 acres at this point? Somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 acres. I can't even fathom like that much land. That you couldn't, in a day, you couldn't walk the entire thing. Not even close. You know what I mean? Like, how big is Disneyland? How big is Disneyland in acres? All right. Okay, Disneyland's 100 acres. So we're talking this enormous Hawaiian paradise that is over 10 times the size of Disneyland Park. And my favorite thing about this is how obvious it is. You know what I mean? Like, think about it,
No.
Luke. You're Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Your image right now is that you're some kind of lizard person who
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
who doesn't really, fully understand human emotion. You just try to emulate it and, try not to get called in for congressional hearings too often so you can hang around and do whatever it is that you do in your hoodie. To be clear, I'm not mocking the CEO hoodie. I rock the CEO hoodie every day. I'm super down. Thank you, Mark, for normalizing it. Anyway, the point is, okay, how obvious it is, right? Everyone already thinks that you're some kind of alien overlord. So why not just buy a Hawaiian island and create a Doom Fortress? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
Mount
he's calling
Zuckerberg.
back to his lizard overlords and he's saying, like, we don't really need to invade. I can just slowly buy the planet. It's fine. It'll just happen over time. I'm going to start with one of the most attractive areas. It's fine. No worries.
Yeah, Navy Retired has another good one here. Bill Gates has almost half of the grazing land in the US. Yeah, Bill Gates is buying up farmland at just like an astonishing rate. Quietly doing philanthropy or whatever that is. But actually, it's kind of funny how someone can be a career philanthropist and be richer today than they were when they retired from the head of one of the world's largest companies. Like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
How does this math work? How are you giving away money? How are you making money by giving away money? I don't think it works that way. The last time I gave away money, I'm pretty sure that I didn't get more back in return. That's not giving away money. That's an investment. It's not the same thing.
I had no idea this was a thing. Gates owns at least 242,000 acres of American farmland.
Something like that.
Holy
It's ridiculous. It's a whole play into like smart farming or something, and it's all being messaged as like an investment in sustainability. But the thing about sustainability is that it can't be sort of at the will of someone who's in a position of kind of unfathomable power, right? Like I don't know. It's because he wants to ban beef. Oh, please. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and move on to our next topic? What did we say was going to be our four topics?
We go out of order from.
Let's do your Disney lightsaber. All right.
It's cool.
Tell us about it.
So it lights up from its core. So like lights the toy lightsabers that you could buy forever were either always one large piece, like it's always extended, and it like looks pretty good, but it's always extended. You can't retract it. Or they extend, but they only glow from the base. So
Right.
they kind of look like junk, but at least they extend, so they're often more fun to play with. This one lights up from its core. As far as I looked at some stuff on Twitter about how people think it works and all this kind of stuff. And as far as my understanding goes, it's essentially a chain of LEDs that gets unraveled along with the tube when it goes up. But like the realistic level just got massively cranked up. Really cool. That video apparently doesn't have any special effects. That's just what the lightsaber looks like, which is pretty wicked.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is how they think it works.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty wicked.
I could be pretty into that. At a recent virtual press conference, Disney Parks chairman Josh D'Amaro briefly revealed what onlookers have called a real lightsaber after studying the patent. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's like actually pretty wicked. It's like this chain of LEDs that goes out. Apparently, there is no current notable like we are going to sell this thing. Some people are thinking they're going to keep it to themselves for a little while to help promote the Star Wars experience that's happening down there. And then maybe it'll be for sale in like a couple or a few years or something like that. So they can keep the hype around the experience for a while.
Right.
And then
because Star Wars is about keeping hype, not rebuilding it right now.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. Is there Star Wars hype right now, Luke? Help me out here.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard good things about Bad Batch.
Okay, all right.
It's all the side content. It's not the mainline movies are just, I mean, they've become terrible, right? Like the sequel series is horrible, but the side content's been pretty all right. Yeah.
No idea how sturdy it's going to be. I mean, that's a major concern. If the idea is just to like hold it and wave it around and look like a badass, then that's somewhat cool. But if they're actually rugged enough that you could even whack them a little, that would be next level. I mean, that's the kind of thing that people will literally wait 5 hours in line so they can pose in a selfie, or like maybe not a selfie, but you know, post a story or whatever else of like 15 seconds of them and their SO, you know, igniting lightsabers, and then you know, yeah, that looks like lots of fun. One of our other topics for the day is, did Tesla buy GIGABYTE? GIGABYTE now has pre-builts on their website called the Model X and Model S. And if these don't look like cars, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Let's go ahead and fire this up.
Not even remotely, just to spoil your day.
Wow, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. So it's a 12-core 5900X with a 3080 graphics card. Where's my gull wing doors? Okay, hold on a second. Design concept. We looked at a car and we got as far as the name, and then we got bored and made a computer case. Got it. Thank you. Okay, air in the front and out the top and the back. That's an innovation. RGB, that's new. Expansion. Okay, in all seriousness, it looks fine. It's just, why is it called the Model X?
Why is it not though? Like that's what I'm like. Does it matter? I don't know.
Okay, fine. I mean, X has been done for years in the PC
X
hardware
and
space.
S have both been done in the PC hardware space.
When has S been done?
Okay, maybe that's more of a car thing.
Oh yeah, cars, you know, S whatever, S class,
S has
whatever.
been on the end of NVIDIA stuff sometimes, because there's been GT, GTX, GTS.
Okay, all right, that's true, but I think
it's definitely not very common.
I think the GT was like the kind of the performance-y part, and then X was just like X for extreme, and then S is just like, oh crap. Okay, but less extreme than that, you know.
Super or Supreme or whatever you want to call it.
Now, for my part, if I was looking at sort of the design story of these, I would go, how did this end up being called Model S? Because it looks just like an Xbox Series X.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Flip the names around, guys, to do better.
Yeah, come on, guys. Oh, hold on. Actually, hold on. There we go. So it uses the same kind of...
Chat pointed out Xbox Series S.
Yeah. Xbox Series S. That's true. That's
Samsung
true.
Galaxy S, 2070S.
Uh,
Define
okay.
S.
2070S is short for super, and the S is for silent in the Define S. This is pretty cool. So they've managed to rip off the name of a Tesla car, the form factor of a Microsoft game console, and the cooling of the Mac trash can. It's not triangular, so it's only like a sandwich style from two sides. You can see here, you got your graphics card over here and your motherboard over here, but that should actually work really well. Having a shared heatsink, Apple has shown us, works way better than you would necessarily think. Like you instead of yeah,
with all the crimes that have happened in model names for hardware, do they deserve this berating attack we've given them? Because I don't really think so. I think this is fine.
I think blatantly naming your computers after cars that they have nothing to do. Like, okay, it's not like Tesla is some regional car brand or something. It's not like, you know, that part of the world nobody has ever heard of Tesla, and or the car has a different name. You know, like you've seen that before in the past, right? Like the Suzuki Swift was also the Pontiac Firefly, was also the Geo Metro. They were all the same car, but it might have varied depending on the region or depending on the manufacturer that was using the same platform, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the case here. There could conceivably be people in Gigabyte's native Taiwan that, you know, drive home from work in their Model S and then go up to their apartment and play games on their Model S. And that's just really stupid. And then when they're done, go back and get in their car and play games on their Model S. Because
also possible.
You can play games in a Tesla. That was the joke. So yes, I think they deserve it, not because it's offensive or anything, but because it's just really, really stupid. That's why. That's why.
If they put a different word, if they used X and S, but put like, I was going to say series, but Microsoft.
Did you manage to independently come up with pretty much the dumbest names Microsoft's ever had for a console, which is truly a spectacular achievement?
Yeah.
How do they keep getting worse at it? I just don't understand it. Sony set the bar so low.
Yeah.
Our game console 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there was some messy stuff in there. You know, retroactively now that's PSX, and also there's the PS1, but like ONE, it's really small. You know, like there was definitely some dumb stuff in there from Sony, but truly nothing even close to Microsoft's nonsense.
I haven't followed PlayStation enough. I knew about like the slim editions and stuff like that, but I didn't know about the one and stuff. That's sad to hear that they went that direction.
Oh yeah, that thing was super cool though. I remember my first time seeing it. This is hilarious. My first time seeing it was actually at IKEA, and it was just one of the cardboard fake ones. And I had only ever seen it online, so I didn't realize like how small it is. But here I'm showing my display capture. Oh right, I forgot about the one with the built-in display, the PS1 combo.
I just found that. Yeah, what the heck? That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and man, that thing was super cool. Like there's the PS1 combo right next to a controller, which gives you a really good idea of the scale of it. We actually have one of them kicking around the office. I think our intention was to like build it into something. Like we wanted to do like an ultimate PlayStation, and it was just going to have like all the PlayStations built into one chassis, because you don't even have to have that many of them. You just have to have a PS3 with the hardware backwards compatible. So one of like backwards compatibilities, one of the launch PS3s, and then a PS4 and a PS5 all cooked into one thing. But this was pre-PS5, so it was just going to be two boxes. But then there was some reason we wanted the PS1, and I don't remember what it was. It was probably dumb, which is probably why we never did it. What can I say? What else we got today that's really, really compelling news that we definitely need to talk to you guys about?
Airbag. I think we could jump to the airbag.
You know what? Let's talk about the airbag. This is some dystopian level right here. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what my stance is on this. Go ahead and hit me.
So, a motorcycle apparel company named Klim, I believe that's how you say it, sells an airbag vest. So, a vest that you wear while you're on your motorcycle called the AI1 for $400.
And
But
these are totally a thing. Actually, I first learned about these or like high-tech wearable like safety equipment when I was at a snowboard shop, and they showed me this backpack. And I was like, what the hell is it about this backpack that could make it be worth like $1,000 or something like that? And they're like, oh, it has like an emergency avalanche deployment inflatable thing.
Oh, the balloon thing.
Yep.
So people can like find you.
So
and
people
stuff.
can like find you, and it gives you enough air to breathe. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess so. The sales rep was really rude, like treated me like I was some kind of complete idiot for not thinking that avalanche preparedness was important. I was like, no, you jerk. I just didn't know that that's what it does, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be like, why does this backpack cost $1,000? Anyway, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I totally cut you off there.
No worries. So yeah, when you buy it with $400, it does nothing at all. That you are not done. You need to continue spending money. You have to activate the vest in a companion app.
No. When you buy it for $400, you need to buy it for an okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so you buy it for $400, and you know what? I don't actually know. Maybe there's some amount of time included. I don't know that part, but it is timed. So you need to lease the functionality of it because you've bought the hardware, I guess.
And it does nothing for $400 after whatever your trial period is.
Yeah. So you lease it for $12 a month to $120 a year, or you pay another $400, doubling the cost to $800 total dollars to just buy it outright and have it work forever.
Okay. And the idea is that this airbag vest inflates if you fall, effectively kind of trying to keep you safe if you crash your motorcycle.
And this tech works. They have a bunch of different examples of this. There was, I think we talked about it on a WAN show like a few years ago. There was a helmet, which was essentially, I think it was like built into your jacket or something. And then if you fell on a bicycle, it wasn't designed for a motorcycle. If you fell on a bicycle, it would inflate and wrap around your head, which was, I think, some like students from somewhere made it. Yeah, very interesting. What keeps getting me is like my credit card expired a while back, and there was like a couple different services that I forgot to update.
Sure.
And they I guess they emailed me, but I don't really check my personal email that often.
Right.
It's like I don't really use my personal email for very many things, to be completely honest. I basically just check my work ones. And it just the service stopped working. I was like, what the heck? What's going on? And then I figured out, I need to update my credit card. If that happens with this, you die.
Well, there's a 30-day grace period. Okay.
Okay, that's helpful, I guess.
But past the 30-day grace period, I literally would be wearing a $400 accessory that does not work and will not deploy, and you would actually potentially, if not die, like it may not be the difference between life and death, but it could be the difference between levels of injury. And so this is a direct quote from the company.
It's not like guaranteed death if it doesn't deploy. I guess I was a little bit too hardcore there, but yeah.
If customers choose to ignore the indicators and ride with inbox, is that what it's called? Inactive, that's on them. And we can expect it not to inflate in the event of a crash. So imagine, I mean, it's one of those things where, okay, I understand that their business model is to be paid for their product. Obviously, right? Like if you don't pay for the product, then you shouldn't have the product. But then imagine for a second being the person who, like, let's talk a hypothetical, right? You can freeze time. So you're watching, okay? You're watching this happen. Someone gets the back of their motorcycle clipped as they go through an intersection, and the bike is wobbling, right? and they're heading into a turn, and they're gonna slam into like a solid object. Basically, it's gonna happen. Okay, time is frozen, and you have the option to, for $400, save them. And you go, I don't know, they probably should have paid the $400 ahead of time. That's on them.
Would you think it's better?
Imagine being the kind of sociopath that's like, because I could see them having it inflate anyway and then sending collections after you or something.
So that's what I was going to say. Do you think it would be better if it does inflate anyways, but it costs $800?
Oh, interesting. So you have to pay a like lapsed subscription fee if it goes off. So it's more like paying for going off insurance and less like actually paying for the raw functionality.
They still save your life, but they're kind of like, hey, dude, what the heck? Like, you weren't paying your active subscription. We saved you out of the money grabbing part of our hearts. You owe us a bunch of money. Would that be better to you?
Way better. Way better. Yeah, way better. Because to me, it just comes
especially if that was clearly communicated that that's how that would work, right?
Because the software has a moment. Like, this product has an opportunity, Mom Spaghetti, to save someone or let them potentially be horribly injured or get dead. This is a paying customer. And that's something that's just really, really frustrating to me about the whole Internet of Things, buy once, pay forever kind of model. Is just because someone didn't, buy it and give you their money exactly the way that you like them to or enough, doesn't make them not a paying customer all of a sudden. You can't just completely ignore them and treat them like garbage, literally let them die.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
Thomas Goff Towney says, if you've paid for the product, shouldn't it just bloody work? Okay, so that's where you get into the economics of, functionality as a DLC, right? Because here's the opposite, or here's the counter argument to that, right? Let's say in order for them to make enough margin on this product, their actual target sell price would have to be, let's say, $650, okay? So somewhere between the buy outright price of $800 and the lease forever price. Or actually, okay, the way that math would work would probably be the other way. The buy outright price is probably like the bulk price or whatever, because people would be expected to use this thing for years and years, right? So let's say their break even, where they're actually profitable is like $900 or something. So here's my counter argument. If you only need this thing, let's say you live somewhere like, I don't know, Vancouver, British Columbia, right? Like me. If you only need this thing for like 4 months out of the year, then it would be kind of great if all the people who buy it outright could subsidize you only needing to pay $400 up front, which, maybe wasn't enough for them to make the margin that they needed to make to be profitable. And then, slowly pay, whatever that would work out to, like about $48 to $60 a year over the next 5 to 10 years. Ultimately, that could be more sensible and affordable. I could take that $400 I didn't spend up front, or given I'm going to presumably use it for the first season, that $350 or so that I didn't spend up front, and I could put it in an index fund or something. And ultimately, if I am excellent at managing my money, I could actually come out ahead with this, leasing option. I could save money, and the people who buy it outright, actually, okay, I probably got the math wrong. It doesn't matter. The people who buy it outright, or the people who can't afford the upfront, but can afford the subscription 12 months a year forever because they're not good at managing their money, like they can subsidize me. That's the argument. And you end up in these same kinds of conversations when you talk about things like the heated rear seats in the Model 3, I think is the one where it kind of broke news, where they build it into every single car and then you activate it after the fact, because for Tesla, it's more economical from a manufacturing standpoint to just put it in every car, but it does have an actual cost. So the people who want it can subsidize that manufacturing cost and they end up paying a bit extra. But that way the people who don't want it can save a buck. But then from my point of view, if you're claiming that your company is all about saving the planet, then you just shouldn't consume materials that you're not planning to actually, activate or do something with, or whatever the case may be.
And to be clear, because I think some people in the chat are getting off base here. They have an option. You can just pay $800 more or less up front, and
Absolutely.
then it works forever. Something else that might be going on here, and something that might muddy the waters here as well, is like, this is a apparel company. This is a pretty high-tech device.
Yep.
They might not have done any of the software for this. So they might have to pay like a licensing fee for each user that this detection of collision, whatever stuff is running on. So they might have to pay out of pocket monthly for each one of these users. So they need a monthly thing for it. But then that doesn't make a ton of sense, because you can pay $400 up front, but maybe there's a way that they can buy out a user, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It depends on like what kind of fees are going on in the background. But yeah, it's interesting.
Zuil says, after paying the subscription on the Klim for 3 to 4 years, you don't need to pay the subscription anymore. So it's more like a financing option then. So I'm guessing you pay just a little bit extra that way. So their target would then be $800. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think there's a better solution. On the one hand, I'm in favor of making the barrier to entry for life-saving technology lower. So if Klim says, okay, by making it cost $400 and then be $120 a year, we are able to get this into the hands of people who would otherwise have to save up for longer in order to have it. Maybe they die while they're saving up their money, right? You can make that argument. There could be lives being saved by them having a lower barrier to entry. But then the flip side of it being just like, well, yeah, I don't know, it's not on until you die. I don't think that's really the right solution either. I think having it activate and then going after you with a penalty is probably the not morally reprehensible way to handle this.
What about another option where there's only 2 ways to pay? There's the $400 up front, or if you agree to the $120 a year or $12 a month thing, you have to lock in for 4 years so that they get their money.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, what the edge case we're talking about here that we started with was, maybe losing or canceling your credit card. So just because you're locked in doesn't mean they can actually get the money from you. And that's exactly the kind of situation where you might end up dying. Now, to be clear, it'll light up and tell you that it's activated. But I mean, I don't know, man. I know a lot of people who don't pay that close attention. We're talking this high technology app controlled vest, and I don't want to generalize, but like, bikers are not necessarily the youngest, most tech savvy people all the time. I mean, I thought motorcycles are one of those things that millennials are killing. What's the latest
they probably
thing?
are.
Apparently millennials are killing Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Which is great. Like, heck yeah. Let's get rid of it. Good job.
hey, whoa. Luke, that's a very controversial take. I don't want to kill Coca-Cola. I need, I'm super into that Coca-Cola.
Are you?
Well, not the North American swill that we can buy, but the sugarcane Coke, so good. So good. I'm lucky I don't live somewhere where you can actually buy good Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I heard like some... There's some weird stuff around Coca-Cola. I don't want to necessarily say things on the WAN show because I don't know how much of it is like true necessarily or whatnot. So yeah, I don't really want to go into it. But I heard something about... Yeah, I actually don't want to go into it at all. But you can look up like weird things with Coca-Cola, and there's some really odd stuff with them needing to potentially pay like $500 million in a lawsuit because of deaths.
Oh, interesting.
And death squads. Look up Coca-Cola death squads.
Okay.
And you'll find some stuff.
That
maybe.
sounds like a heck of a rabbit hole.
I don't know if it ended up. Yeah, I don't know.
All
I had a Google News thing pop up on my phone this morning saying that like millennials canceled it because of that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
No,
never heard of this before.
probably has more to do with it just not being trendy. Like, when's the last
Yeah.
time you were like, oh yeah, Coke that's a cool drink?
Well, everyone knows that Nestle is doing like tons of like super evil things, and people still buy Nestle products all the time. So it would definitely be because it's not trendy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything the Coca-Cola company could do to be more evil than Nestle. That's a pretty high bar right there. The show is also brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Stop carrying around pointless items in your pocket, like receipts, old hotel room keys, or spent gift cards. With Ridge Wallet, you can carry less. They use 2 metal plates that are bound by a strong elastic band to keep your cards tightly accessible, tightly together, but still accessible. And they're RFID blocking, so you're not going to be able to use one of those scanners to grab any information off your card. They offer a lifetime guarantee. They're available in aluminum, carbon fiber, and titanium. And they don't just sell wallets. They've got battery banks, bags, smartphone covers, and more. So use offer code WAN to get 10% off at ridge.com/WAN. Finally, the show is brought to you by a classic, Squarespace. We use Squarespace. We really do. LinusMediaGroup.com, LTXExpo.com, they were built on a very tight budget. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we did not have a budget to build those websites and did not have a lot of time. And with Squarespace, we were up and running basically right away. You can choose from any of their gorgeous templates and they'll work awesome on desktop, mobile, or I mean, that's kind of it. There's stationary and there's mobile. It's sort of a binary thing. And if you need help, Squarespace offers webinars, a full series of help guides, and you can contact their support team 24/7 to help you build their site. So don't wait. Go to squarespace.com/WAN and use offer code WAN to get 10% off. We got some other good topics to talk about today. Epic versus Apple's Epic Saga continues. Epic versus Apple's.
Just the Coke thing really quick. I looked it up. It was thrown out of court due to lack of evidence.
Lack of evidence. All right.
Yeah. So who knows?
So who knows if they tried to organize any kind of hitman
Crazy
thing.
Stuff. Yeah.
Guess we'll never know. Moving on. Epic versus Apple. This Monday, May 3rd, marked the start of the Epic versus Apple trial, but didn't start out smoothly. Fans of both parties, oh no, found the call-in number and interrupted the proceedings before the court got things under control. The call-ins were somewhat amusing, but they were disruptive. Please don't do that. One of the key arguments that Apple is making concerns Microsoft and Xbox. And when I say Xbox, there's a reason that I didn't get specific, because Xbox for Microsoft has become kind of a muddy term. Luke, what is Xbox?
It's like everything Microsoft does in regards to gaming.
Okay, so it's not a console anymore. It's not a store. It's not an, oh man, do they call
an application on your computer?
Yeah, it's not just an application on your computer. It's like,
it's not being able to play games through the cloud.
Yeah,
it's all of these things together.
It's all of it together. So anyway, one of the arguments that Apple's making is about Microsoft and Xbox. They're saying that macOS and Windows are both open desktop operating systems, while iOS and Xbox are closed, specialized operating systems, and they both feature a 70-30 revenue split on digital purchases. So therefore, because Microsoft is doing it, it cannot be evil and cannot violate antitrust law, so it must be okay for us to do it too. Okay, I made up that last bit. Epic's counter-argument. Xbox consoles are sold at a loss. Digital purchases are their only profit generator for the platform. Also, incidentally, Microsoft recently cut their take on games on the Microsoft Store to 12%, presumably as a response to competition in the market from the likes of, well, Epic Games. Epic argues that the iPhone is more like a PC than a specialized gaming console that is sold for the purposes of having people subscribe to gaming services and buy games to run on it. So the App Store business model should be more like the Microsoft Store, the Epic Games Store, or even macOS, where apps can be installed from anywhere. All right, pretty solid argument. I think we probably saw this one coming. Also, released court documents have revealed some interesting things. In 2011, Apple discussed reducing the App Store Apple tax. Phil Schiller, head of the App Store, emailed Eddie Q and Steve Jobs saying, once we are making over $1 billion a year in profit from the App Store, is that enough to then think about a model where we ratchet down from 70-30 to 75-25 or even 80-20 if we can maintain $1 billion a year run rate? You know what? I never knew that Phil Schiller was so cool. Like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. $1 billion a year run rate? That seems pretty good. Maybe we could just like make a cool $1 billion a year and that'd be like chill, right? It's all good. We don't need more than $1 billion a year from, app developers.
Nope,
Yes.
not good enough.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Microsoft inadvertently got Shadow kicked from the App Store. They emailed Apple asking how Shadow could be in the App Store, but xCloud couldn't. And shortly afterwards, Shadow's iOS app was suddenly suspended. Shadow came back, but was suspended a year later in February 2021. Shadow says that Apple didn't understand that they stream a full Windows PC rather than a library of games. Luke,
I'm not surprised.
I find that, hold on a second. I find that very difficult to believe because Apple's adjudicators and reviewers for the App Store are very, very well versed. No. They're very well versed in all the different subtleties of the differences in functionalities between apps. They're very thorough. They offer prompt communication.
They do offer fairly if they don't need to do anything and they can just say no, they do tend to offer pretty prompt communication. If there's any actionable items, or they maybe need to say yes, or they need to actually do their jobs in any way, that could take a bit longer. But just saying no, screw off, that does tend to happen fairly quick.
In other news, Tim Sweeney thinks Epic Games Store will be profitable and make up 35 to 50% of the PC gaming market by 2024.
And there's a note on here that says LOL okay, but I would argue if they continue their hyper aggressive spend to give away free games, he might be right.
Tell me something, Luke.
Yeah.
How many Epic Games Store games do you have installed right now?
None.
Okay. Ask me something, Luke.
But I don't think you
No,
and I
go ahead and
are-
ask me. You have to ask me.
All right, Linus.
Yeah.
How many Epic Games Store games do you have installed?
Hold on, let me find out. I don't really know the answer. It's hard to tell because in order to check that, I would have to open the launcher, which I don't appear to have
Team
installed.
EVGA's in the chat. What's up, guys?
Who's in the chat?
Team EVGA.
Oh, sup, y'all? Your thing was yesterday, dog. Or before that or something? I don't know. I can't remember.
Yesterday. Yeah.
Was it yesterday? All right. Yeah. Sorry. This week's been a blur, man. So I wish Mr. Sweeney luck with that. I don't necessarily think that it's going to play out exactly like that.
I think there is an extremely large amount of people who played Fortnite and therefore got used to the Epic Games launcher. I think there are an extremely large amount of people that still play Fortnite because it's still a very popular game. Not at its peak anymore, but it's still huge. And I think if they keep giving away stuff like GTA, Civ, all these like major titles that people play, if they keep pushing that, I think adoption is going to be really high.
But
when
he
they
said
were
profitable and market share.
Oh, did he say profitable?
Oh, he said both.
Okay. All right.
Now I understand why you were making the argument you were making.
Okay.
You were like, yeah, totally. They can buy 50% of like
that's
of Valve's business as long as they actually give it away. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
They could do that.
All right. Well, the combination of that's a little tough. Good luck. I don't know. He also said PC gaming market. Ugh, yeah. Eek. All right.
Yeah.
I'll roll that one back a little bit.
Anyway, in other news, what else we got here?
LTTstore.com.
Oh,
There's a discount code.
right. We have a promo.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Oh, are you serious right now? Okay. So if you go on lttstore.com right now, there's a very nice promo code.
It's nice.
It's
It's really nice.
nice. So if you use promo code NICE, then you
Nice.
will get. Actually, I forget what exactly the promo is. Hold on, let me go back to this. What did? Okay. You will get free shipping. This is worldwide free shipping on orders of $69.69 or more. So it's only going to be live for a couple of hours. I don't know exactly how long. It'll turn off whenever Nick gets tired of thinking
That's the
about
number,
it in the
guys.
back of his mind and making sure we
Nice.
don't completely lose our shirts. Free shipping like costs when it's worldwide, because you never know when someone from like Uzbekistan or something is going to
Yeah.
order like a flat of water bottles for them and their entire extended family. And it's like,
Right.
oh, thank you for your order. That will be now, $270 in shipping charges that we get to eat now. So, we always like to, whenever we do free shipping, we always try to be really careful with it. So, yeah, enjoy, guys. Offer code NICE or coupon code NICE.
Nice.
For free shipping on orders over $69.69. In other news, Luke, we
Yes.
are now both wearing headphones from a company that just sold their headphone division.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. What?
Right? They sold their entire consumer audio division, which makes headphones, soundbars, and DACs, to a Swiss-based medical hearing company called Sonova Holding AG, which specializes in hearing aids and cochlear implants. For those of you who aren't familiar, cochlear implants are a type of implant that replace some of the functional components of your inner ear, so you can actually... It's a lot more complicated than this, but basically, if you have suffered hearing loss, you can get one of these implants, and assuming all the conditions, all the stars align, you can restore some amount of hearing. My understanding is, at least this is how it used to work, that if you have residual natural hearing, you actually kind of have to scoop all that out, so you're left with only the artificial hearing. So it's like, it's a whole thing. I'm not promoting or not promoting it one way or the other. I'm just saying that's what they are. And Sonova Holding AG now owns the Sennheiser headphone business. The thing that's really mind-blowing to me is Sennheiser talked about a while back how they, don't make money on headphones. And I'm kind of sitting here going, okay, I get it. Because we saw their R&D facility. You were there with me when we did the German tour, right? Yeah, because we went to Cherry as well. Yeah. The only way that Sennheiser could not be making money on headphones based on the actual materials cost of a pair of headphones and how much they charge for them and the kind of volume that Sennheiser moves is if there's just a lot of cost associated with bringing to market products that don't move the kind of volume. Like Sennheiser has a very broad product mix. And guys, we've been going through a process launching a product for LTT Store, which hasn't launched yet, but it will, where we've had to do actual custom tooling and injection molding parts for the final assembly of this product. And let me tell you, when you buy a pair of headphones on Amazon or eBay or something for $22, it is absolutely mind-boggling that can be done. The kind of volume of that product that you have to move in order to make up for the upfront costs of setting up the machines to injection mold these plastic parts and that kind of thing. It's crazy. You can easily spend 6 figures on just even a small device that has 5 or 6 different components that are actually well in excess of that easily. So I can see how maybe there would have been management issues or bloat that might have made it hard for them to make a profit with their headphone division. But it just seems like the kind of thing that could have been fixed.
Yeah.
Don't know.
especially because like when we went on that tour, the amount of pedigree that company has is ridiculous, and like the story is so deep and crazy. Just to sell it off seems weird. I don't
Yeah,
know.
apparently they also sold the rights to continue using the Sennheiser brand on these products, which is really baffling to me because it seems like Sennheiser is holding on to its professional audio division. So you could potentially have this reputation that Sennheiser has for building great audio products compromised by a
That's
company that,
so weird.
yeah, I'm just honestly, I'm just kind of blown away. Like it just seems like the kind of problem that was solvable, you know? And
And
it's
what
always,
constitutes consumer headphones? Like, at what level does that begin and end? Is this just their entire headphones division and their pro audio? Because like I'm on their website, but there's it doesn't actually seem to divide very nicely.
I would imagine basically anything headphones that Sennheiser makes would be considered consumer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
But you're including like HD 800 and above.
absolutely, that would still be consumer, high-end consumer, but it's still consumer. And like what it wouldn't include is something like a shotgun microphone,
Yes.
like professional
Yeah.
audio equipment.
Yeah.
So I'm just blown away. It seems like it should have been fixable. Like you said, Sennheiser's expertise, Sennheiser's brand story should have made them an unstoppable behemoth in this space, but they just couldn't get it down. I mean, it's no secret that I love the products. I mean, I can literally use any headphones in the world I want, but nothing just does it for me like these do. Maybe part of the problem is these are HD 600s. These are a product from like the late 80s.
That's what I was going to say is I think they had a really hard time modernizing.
Sorry, the 90s, 97. I think it was what was it? What came before the 600s? It doesn't matter. The point is, this is a 25-year-old product. And they haven't built anything that to me is so much better that I need to upgrade to it. And so maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe they just built it too good.
Yeah. And like I've had these since like basically right out of high school.
Yeah, you've had them the entire time I've known you, and I think all you've done is replace the
ear
pads. Yeah,
like quite a few times at this point. Like to the point now where I have to buy them from like third parties because Sennheiser doesn't sell the ear pad replacements anymore.
Well, Sennheiser's never going to sell your ear pad replacements anymore, Luke. You're done, bud.
Yeah. Oh, this is really disappointing. I don't know. It's just that's it. I think they had a hard time modernizing. I know, at least when I was back doing reviews and when I think you guys did more audio reviews, because I don't think it's a huge thing for you guys anymore. But
Yeah.
A lot of their modernization efforts, they were weird.
They were still very traditional.
Yeah.
Very, very traditional. Like kind of not afraid to pursue trends, but kind of felt like there was an attitude of being too good to do it. Like it was kind of beneath them. Like, no, we take this stuff actually seriously. Like, what do you mean shiny plastic beats? Ew. And to be clear, it's not like I disagreed with them, but at the end of the day, you know, I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Why do I put up with Amazon's crappy policies? Why do we sell our products on Amazon? Because at the end of the day, you know, you got mouths to feed. So you're either going to lay off, what would they lay off? Like 600 people or something from their headphone division. So you're either going to lay off a bunch of people or you're going to just do what you got to do. It's not like we're talking about a morally reprehensible thing you're doing. It's just, you know, trying to crawl out of your own butt and address the current market condition, right? But if they just like don't want to, then I guess like that's chill, right?
The thing that's really sad about this is we are losing another company where, like you just talked about, like that's a 25-year-old product, and I just mentioned that these headphones are ancient to me. Like you can see on WAN Show, you can see spots where like they've been dinged up and stuff.
Gamer rage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still fine. I've sat on these. Other people have sat on these. I remember getting really, really pissed off at one of my friends who went over to my house and they were playing games on my computer. And when they left, they put my headphones on their chair. And then when they came back, they sat on them. They were these. They're still fine. I've walked away from the computer and they've like hooked on my chair and they've whipped across the room. They're still fine. They've moved tons of times. I've brought them with me on trips. They're still fine. Like they've survived everything. And that's not very common anymore with products. It's just not. Like planned obsolescence is absolutely a thing. And Sennheiser didn't do it. And now they're gone. And that should make people sad. Like genuinely, that should make people sad. That is disappointing.
I think that was pretty much it. I mean, I'm driving a Porsche now. We could talk about that. Excuse me. Sorry. A Porsche.
I just tried to figure out a way that I could do that text-based meme audibly, and it just doesn't work. Have you seen that though?
Which one?
You pronounce Porsche, not Porsche, but it's typed out.
Yeah. I get it. It's fine. I definitely feel that boomer energy when I'm behind the wheel. It's the closest thing to like an emotional experience that I've ever had driving a car.
Really?
I'm just like, I feel like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out like how to do this video because there's a lot of stuff that's really cool. It's chock full of amazing, super cool technology. I mean, obviously, even to me, a stupid, car pleb, it is noticeably a better driving experience than anything I've ever touched. Like, yeah, for sure. Yep, it's real. It's not fake. But I feel like such an imposter behind the wheel. Like I just like I know that I'm not fully appreciating this thing, and I know that I'm not cool enough to be driving it, but here I am. Don't look through the windows. It's pretty fun so far. That. All right, I think that's pretty much it for the show today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just to clarify, I did not buy a Taycan. I am renting it for a month. So that's my compromise with my wife that allows me to do car videos, but not actually have to spend car money in order to do car videos. Because a lot of manufacturers, their press cars, they'll only lend them out for a few days or a week tops. And that's just not enough time for us to evaluate something like that and make a video about it to the level that we want to do it. So we're just outright refusing to do so. And fortunately, I think the way this one worked is it's actually a rental program from either Porsche directly or from one of their dealerships. I don't remember exactly how it worked. Unfortunately, YouTube glitched out and I only have a handful of super chats today from the latter part of the show. I'm like sincerely sorry, you guys. But this is all I've got. Alex says, monopolies are bad. Why hate Epic as competition? We don't hate them as competition. I mean, they've done some really dumb stuff and they've gotten some well-deserved hate for it, but we just think that was a very optimistic outlook. What? Okay, I don't know what that means. We need to figure out a way so people like me can challenge Linus on Super Mario Brothers 3 battle mode, even though we're not on the same continent. Man, Super Mario Brothers 3 battle mode is already squishy enough in terms of inputs that it's a little random who's going to win. Playing that game across continents with that kind of lag, I think would be worse.
I know I mentioned at the beginning of this as well, but I had so much fun watching that video.
Oh,
everyone that went up to you and challenged you at 2 of the games, you should watch it. But everyone that challenged you at 2 of the games, I'm just like, you're going to get tooled. And then every time someone picked that 3rd one, I was like, finally, they actually like have paid attention and know what to do.
I don't know if this made it into the video. I don't remember, but I was just chatting with one of the guys and I was like, hey, what made you pick Mortal Kombat? And he's like, honestly, I've just never, ever seen you play a fighting game.
Yeah.
I've been watching for years. I've never seen you touch a fighting game. So I figured you probably have no idea what you're doing. And I was like, got him. I love the guy that really wanted to challenge me at Beat Saber and was sure that he was going to slay me at Beat Saber.
What the heck?
He has clearly never watched any of my Beat Saber streams. You know what though? I have a really fun one coming up soon. I don't think it's going to be a video. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a float plane exclusive or something. But you know how I've said that David thinks that after 1 week of training he can beat me at Beat Saber?
What? No,
we now officially have money on the line. So it's 10-1. So I have to put up $100 to his $10. And the challenge date, I think, is it penciled in for the week of the 17th. So that's the week that he has to train up. And then probably that weekend, I'm going to stream this for sure. He's going to take me on in Beat Saber, 1v1 me Rust. And we'll see if he can catch up in that time.
All right.
Luna says, about to make you guys go bankrupt ordering 100 water bottles to Brazil. Thank you for that. Cable Feed says, bought ABCs of gaming. I'm a new uncle and a 40-ounce water bottle 9 days ago. Do you know when I will get the shipment? Okay, so a couple things. Number one, we had a huge order rush, so that did slow things down a little bit. I think we're pretty much recovered from that. But number two, worldwide shipping is basically a cluster right now. So you'll get it when you get it. Josh, JLMG Productions, says, Linus sad face mouse pad when? I mean, it'll be weeks because of the worldwide shipping situation. We've had containers that are like supposed to be picked up 1 month, get picked up like 2 months later, and then get delayed at the port, and then blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to promise anything, but we are going to do them. And I think that's pretty much it for this week. Sup, CHP. Hope you have a better week next week. We will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Okay, John Carlos Morla Janao says, hey, what do you think about the MKBHD video? He launched the video right as we went live. How much? You guys were sitting here with me the whole time. I haven't watched it yet, but I will. Mark has made a right to repair video. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Good that the whole movement is getting more attention. Guys, never forget, right to repair. Shiv P says, thoughts on anti-right to repair. My thoughts on anti-right to repair are either they're ignorant or they have some kind of agenda and we need to figure out what it is. Because there's no, red-blooded, freedom-loving alignment that can possibly be anti-right to repair. It just isn't compatible. It's that simple. We made a video about it a couple weeks ago that I pretty much said everything that I have to say. It's one of those videos where my writer brought me the script and technically there's a writing credit, but I ended up almost completely rewriting it during script review. So that's what I had to say about it. I don't really have anything else to add. All right. See y'all later, guys.
Bye. Oh, man. Man, this Sennheiser thing is actually like so sad. I don't ever want to use any other headphones. Why did you have to go away?